Alright, in this video I'm going to show you a couple of little blending modes. So I've added this scan, this little photograph from my notebook of just some handwriting. And you'll notice when I zoom in on it, when you have, you're picking up paper texture, so there's a little bit of tone there. One way of keeping the black and getting rid of the lighter tones is using a blending mode of multiply. And you'll notice that that worked pretty good where it's picking up the black. You can see that gets applied, but I'm also getting a little bit of that texture, and if I want to get rid of that, and you can see if I turn off all these other layers, basically what I need to do is apply a curves or a levels adjustment and blow out my highlights. So I'm not so worried about some of, clipping the highlights with this, partly because of how it's also blending with the rest of the image. And so what I'm going to do is run a layers curve, or let's do a levels on it, and we can watch that. We'll watch this right here to see how long it takes to disappear. So I'm going to do an adjustment layer here of levels. I'm going to apply it only to, again, using that command or option click to apply this as a mask only to, or clipping only to the layer. And so you can see I've got a lot of highlights here. And as I start to run my slider to the left, watch this tone right here disappear. And what I'm doing is clipping my highlights. But you're not seeing a lot of change here on the type, partly because it's black and there's not a lot of highlights there. We're having most of our tones here which aren't being affected. It's these ones. And so if I turn these off, you can see what that's done is it's basically made those, taken out that texture. So that's one way of using your multiply blending mode in conjunction with your levels to knock it out. Now we could do the opposite. I've got another layer here with the text that's inverted. So if we wanted to get rid of the black and keep the white, we could use, instead of multiply, which works because then it would let the white becomes kind of a mask and lets things shine through. We could use screen, which will just take the lighter of the tones and get rid of the black. So those are ways to do that. And then we also have the ability to add opacity if we wanted to pull that down. So those are some methods that we can use to composite like black and white and make some really easy selections. Again, that would be a real pain to have to try to cut out every little bit of letter, but that's a real quick way of making that work.